smooth and soft, and some people like him to be like a little bit harder. Like I know your gun is always shooting real smooth.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. Like if you go higher, the gun is gonna have a little bit more kick in it, and if you go lower, it's gonna be real smooth and real paint friendly, right? So
yeah. I think you always want to keep the LPR on the lower side of its adjustment. One of the things that it's real easy to kind of hide problems that the gun will have by just constantly adjusting the LPR. If you have to constantly turn the LPR up, there's a good chance you're just masking another problem in the gun, like the bolt kit needs to be serviced.
Oh, that's right. So LPR, when you get it right, you don't have to be adjusting it all the time.
No. Typically, when I do tech classes and talk to people about it, what I tell them is service your bolt real good. Change the O-rings, grease it real well, make sure it feels real smooth and it feels good. Put it in the gun. Take your LPR down to the point where the gun doesn't want to cycle, and then just slowly bring it up, and you'll reach that point where the gun starts to cycle, and then you'll reach the point where it's cycling, nice and smooth. And the paint's got a nice consistent velocity to it, and that's pretty much where you need to leave it. And at that point, if you start having problems, it's a good indicator that you just need to service your bolt kit again.
And talking about the bolt, people still have they think DM guns are you have to service them a lot and you have to put lots of effort, but that's not true, because it's these bolt kits are really easy to service.
Yeah.
And so basically there is just need to take it out, clean it up, maybe sometimes change the O-ring or two, but that's not, as long as you take good care of your bolt kits, your gun shoots fine, right?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, it's only going to take you maybe a minute.
Yeah.
Minute and a half to service the gun. And if you do it on a regular basis, it's just good practice for one. You got a really nice, high-end, expensive piece of equipment. You want to take care of it. If you treat it like garbage, you kind of get out of it what you put into it. As far as servicing it, the bolt kit only has one moving part. You unscrew the bolt kit, you pull it out, you unscrew the pieces, you put a little bit of grease on the few O-rings, screw it back together, make sure there's no broken paint or anything like that on it, throw it back in the gun and you're good to go. I mean, it's a pretty simple process.
Yeah, that's what I do when I go play, when we have practice.
Yeah.
And we play in the third and we play all this, sometimes rainy, after a day of playing, I'll just do that. I'll take the bolt out, I wipe it clean, and I put a little bit of grease in there and put it back in the gun, and it's ready to go for the next day.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a pig pin sometimes, and I won't even clean the outside of my gun. But at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, I just take the bolt kit out, I service it real quick, and I know that it can sit in my bag for a month, if need be. And when I pull it out, it's going to be good. If you let it sit in there with paint and dirt and muck, you're going to have problems. But if you just get in the practice and pull it out, take a minute and a half to service it, throw it back in the gun, throw your gun in the bag, you're going to eliminate probably 70-80% of any possible problems.
That's a cool thing, not having the eye plates here too, when you play in the third and stuff, you don't, this Dm9 is real easy to clean. You just wipe it off, there's not too many holes.
Yeah,
and,
there's no nooks and crannies and crevices, you just, it's kind of a one big smooth surface that you can just wipe off, so it makes it nice.
All right, some LPR, we're talking about the pressure stuff, and how about the Hyper 3 rack here? We had this Hyper 3 in the DM, that was a big change for DM8, and we still have the same rack on this gun, and it's got the fantastic airflow on this one.
Right.
And what's the pressure range on the?
On the Hyper Egg, on all the 09 guns that we do, from the bare bottom starter gun, the SLG, all the way up to the DM9, the pressure range runs from basically 0 to about 250, 240 psi, and they're all made so that you can only adjust it so far to where it bottoms out, and you can only go so high with the pressure. Just for a safety reason. You don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to be shooting 400 feet per second or something ridiculous.
Same thing, or you can't blow anything out inside, right?
Right. In addition, Dye sells Hyper 3 regs for aftermarket guns, or for other manufacturers' guns. Those, on the other hand, the ones that they sell individually, those can be adjusted higher because a lot of guns out on the market need higher pressure than the 250. So, but the guns that come, the hyper rigs that come on the guns, you can run them up to about 250, and that's as high as they'll go. You don't have to worry about any extreme safety issues that way.
And well, the old Rex used to have a spring in here, right? So now Hyper 3 Rex, we have the shim stack. So what's the benefit using your shims?
The shim stack is more consistent. It's going to last. The strength of the shims is going to last longer. One of the biggest benefits is the size. You can run the shims. You can run a smaller diameter stack of shims and a shorter stack of shims versus a spring of equal strength. So with the Hyper 3, we actually did some research and crunched some numbers and actually got smaller diameter shims that had equal strength to reduce the diameter. So we reduced the diameter of the reg, so we were able to put the tacky rubber sleeve on there for better grip.
It's actually quite nice when you play. So one big thing we didn't talk about yet is, we went through the board, and that's kind of the brains of the gun. And I would say the heart of the gun is the solenoid, right? It's I mean,
as far as what really makes the gun go, it's the solenoid. If you didn't have the solenoid in there, transferring air back and forth in the bolt, the bolt kit wouldn't move. The bolt kit's an integral part, but the solenoid really is what makes it go.
So with this Dm9, what's the difference with the solenoids between the Dm9 solenoid and some of the other brand solenoids?
With our solenoid, we use an SMC solenoid. It's a really well-established company that makes solenoids. We've been using them for quite a few years now, and one of the main reasons we use their solenoid is because it's so durable. The air passages and the airways through the solenoid are so large that just about any debris that can get into the gun, whether it's coming from outside or maybe through dirty air, it's going to pass right through the solenoid. The solenoid is not going to skip a beat. It's a real durable design. The other thing that's real nice about it is the way it's designed and the low profile of it. It mounts directly to the body, so you don't have to worry about a manifold or extra O-rings or gaskets. With the air transfer, it's a big solenoid, and it's really spread out air passages, so it goes directly into the gun. No manifold to worry about or anything like that.
So basically, what you were saying, we both work at DICE, so we get we hear lots of these phone calls, for the techs. When people are calling, they're like, "Hey, my solenoid is leaking," So basically, what you're saying is it's rarely, it's actually the solenoid. I think that's a false misconception that people have, just from years past where solenoids always went down or always going bad, and in other markers and stuff. These days, honestly, the techs, probably 9 out of 10 of the calls they get for a bad solenoid, they're able to fix over the phone by doing a little troubleshooting and finding out that it's maybe the LPR is turned up too high, or there's something wrong in the bolt kit that's causing the leak. Something simple, right?
Something simple, and it really is very rare that the solenoid that we use in these guns is gone bad.
So the fact that air passages are so big, that's like when you play in a dirt field, you were talking about Teflon tape and stuff, so everything just goes right through, it doesn't get stuck in there.
I mean, there's a limit to everything, but realistically, if it can get in the gun, if it can get through the regulators, it's such a small particle of dirt or debris, it's going to go right through the SMC solenoid. And a lot of companies out there like to tout about how small their solenoids are, which, in my opinion, is kind of almost a drawback, because it means the air passages inside the solenoid are so small that just about anything is going to clog it or cause it to not work properly.